that you begin to interact with employees, with other employees. But one thing these new employees should note is that there is a limit. Don't go to the extent of revealing your personal information to people. You want to tell them about your marriage, you want to tell them about your children, your childhood traumas. You have to be very careful to the information that you're giving your fellow employees, because remember, you are new to this organization. So you do not know the personality of this other person that you are giving out your information to.
Hi, welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back to this channel, and I truly hope that this channel and the content that I share has added value to you. And if you're new in this channel, my name is Nelly, and in this channel I'm all about sharing personal, professional and career development topics to help you build a fulfilling and rewarding careers. So in today's video we are going to have a conversation which is very important, especially if you're just getting into a new workplace. So my guest of the day is going to take us through how, as a new employee, you can be able to settle fast, fit in a new environment, and just get it right if you get a new job. Help me to welcome my guest who will be taking us through this conversation of the day. Hi Lilian.
Hi, how are you, Nelly?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. I'm doing fine.
Thank you for accepting my invite and welcome to the show. And we're looking forward to learning and of course gaining knowledge, especially in this area of how an employee can be able to settle in a new environment.
Sure.
Yeah, so just to start us off, I would like you to just introduce yourself to our viewers. Tell them who is Lilian, what do you do?
Okay, thank you everyone, thank you our viewers. My name is Lilian Githaiga and I love to identify myself as Githaiga the speaker. I am the founder of a program known as Glow Mustard Talk. So this is a program where I use to enlighten people more about the career space. So I also work as a career coach both on the online and physical platforms. So yeah, that's what I do as a professional, and I am happy to be in this platform today courtesy of Nelly, and thank you.
Good, thank you so much for that. And maybe will you just tell us a bit of how you got yourself in career coaching? What's your background? Had you always wanted to be a career coach?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question because as I grew up, I never knew I would be a coach, because most of my growing up, I grew as this very fearful girl. I never wanted to speak in front of people, something that affected me for more than a decade. So by the time I came to realize that I have a passion for public speaking, it was towards the end of my university period. So that's when I realized I have a passion for coaching, and that's when I started to find a solid foundation for my coaching career, and it has been 5 years now, and I can say so far so good.
Oh, great. So thank you so much for that introduction, Lilian, and that just gets us now into the topic of today on how to get it right in a new workplace as a new employee. I think that usually is one of the most difficult time of a new employee. You're just getting into a new organization, a new environment, getting to begin interacting with new people.
Sure.
And it comes with a lot of anxiety, fear of unknown, and just getting it right to begin to fit in a new environment. Yeah, so as we start this conversation, my first question would be, how can an employee ensure that they really settle in faster? Because you see, the moment an employee gets into a new organization, already there are expectations, they're going to have KPIs, and after some time they'll begin to get assessed on them.
True.
So then how does a new employee rather, ensures that they really settle in faster in a new environment?
Wow, that's a good question. Thank you, Nelly. So I'm very sure people have the anxiety that comes in working in a new environment, because this is a place that you've never been to. It's just like how you used to be a new child in school and you are all over new pupils, new teachers, you don't know how to react, you don't know the tradition of the school. So this is more like the same of how you used to be a new pupil in a school. So when it comes to being a new employee in an organization, so for you to ensure that you pass the expected results without not taking too much time, so that the employers or your seniors may not ask themselves, did we get the wrong candidate on board, So we have this orientation period that always occur at the beginning of any new candidate when he or she arrives at that company. So it is important for this candidate to make sure that this orientation period, he or she uses it to the best way possible. So for example, get to note the details that you are being passed when you are being trained. Get to also ask questions, because of course the employers understand that this is a new employee. So you can get to ask questions, take advantage of the orientation period, and then once you are equipped with the information that you have been passed by the trainers, you will be good to go once you settle in your new job.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that's quite important, especially the bit on taking each and every bit of information that you're being given during the orientation process. And again, as I was starting, I'd said one of the key things, or rather one of the most common things that a new employee will face in a new environment is anxiety. And it's common to have that anxiety because you're just getting into a new environment where you don't know the people, and there's that fear of unknown. And this anxiety is one of the things that you will agree that will cause someone to just get terrified and even affect how they deliver finally in their work. So how do you think that somebody can deal with this anxiety? I mean, that anxiety of being in a new place where you really don't know anyone.
That's quite common. And also, as don't feel as if you are someone who is abnormal because you have anxiety. Anxiety is there, and it's normal to have anxiety, but how you handle that anxiety is what counts a lot. So when it comes to handling anxiety, first thing you should consider is that don't try or don't rush to show how professional you are. There is someone who, because she has got on board on this new organization, she has that pressure that she has to fulfill, she has to show she is the best in this and this. So she's trying to rush or to act like she is a professional in this new environment. So be relaxed, take it easy, especially during your first 2 weeks, because you may come with your old traditions of another organization, and they are not the same traditions that this new organization gets to apply. So calm down, take your time to learn the new tradition of this new organization or company. So don't rush to show how you used to do things the other company. Just relax and then learn how it is done, and you'll be good. Something else that you should take note is that don't feel afraid to ask questions. Sometimes unaona kama utaona ukiwa mshamba. Maybe we have fancy things in the new workplaces, such as a dispenser. That is something that you could be afraid to ask, how does this dispenser operate? So don't be afraid to ask, because you may end up not asking because you're afraid or because you wonder what people will say. But when you go ahead to operate something in such a way that you do not know, it may cause chaos because it's not the way it's supposed to operate. Maybe it's even a switch light. You don't know this switch light is for which function. You end up pressing the switch light, and maybe it's an alarm switch. So you see, there will be chaos in the workplace. So don't ever feel afraid to ask a question, because they also understand that you are a new person in this environment. So they also expect you to be asking questions. They will even doubt if you do not ask questions. They'll be like, how does this candidate operate? There is no questions, there is no communication. So in short, always feel free to ask questions. And also another thing that a new employee can note is that you see, when you join a new organization, there is always that feeling that an employee does not want to collaborate with other people or talk to other people because she is afraid. I always encourage new employees, the first thing that you should do, maybe within the first 2 weeks, get to interact with people. Don't be that quiet person who doesn't talk to people, who doesn't interact with people. Get to interact with them, because if you are that quiet person and you wait for like 3 weeks, 1 month so that you can start interacting with people, it will be very hard for you to start interacting with them the second month, the third month. Yes, it is achievable, but it is better for the new employee to start interacting with people from the onset. Ask them, how do you do this and this? Tell them how you used to do in your previous work environment, even if you are not going to apply, just to get a conversation going. That's how you can reduce the anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. So what I pick, which is quite key, is that never be afraid of asking.
True.
Yeah, when you don't know something, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, and when you get to a new environment, don't try to prove that you know while you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that fear of maybe showing the other side of you
Yeah.
that you think will make people judge you is one thing that you really need to do away with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Another question, Lilian, I think will be around just how, as an employee, as a new employee, you ensure that you create a conducive environment. Because one thing we all understand is that workplaces are different.
Yeah.
There's a workplace that you'll get into and it's automatically amazing, with amazing
True.
colleagues, team members who are very welcoming, very supportive bosses.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes you land yourself, or someone can get themselves in a very toxic workplace where you're a new employee and there's even no one who's willing to hold your hand.
Yeah.
You've ever gotten to a place where you're asking questions and nobody's willing to answer you.
True.
So you get into such toxic workplaces, and most of the time I see that most new employees, we're always told that when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do.
Sure.
So you get to a toxic workplace and somebody, you easily get influenced.
Yeah.
You easily get influenced and begin maybe showing or rather displaying the bad values that they display. So as a new employee, how will a new employee ensure that if you get into a bad or rather a toxic workplace, you don't get into that influence, and you're able to, at the end of the day, create a conducive environment that everyone else, or rather yourself, will be happier to work in.
Okay. Thank you for that question. So when it comes to an employee being part of a conducive environment, this new employee has to get into that environment with the mentality of, we are here to collaborate, not to compete. We are here to work as a team, not to show who is best. Because as much as I am concerned, working in this is one organization. You have not been employed in 2 organizations. It is one organization. So this organization is the one that has all these set of employees. We have employees in the marketing department, others in the finance department, others in the security department. We have a receptionist. So we are coming together as a team to achieve the same goal, to achieve the same mission of an organization. We don't have different missions. So this same mission, this same goal that has brought this team together, you are supposed to collaborate to achieve the set goals and the set mission. So if you come with the mentality of competing, instead of the organization improving the performance, it will start to reduce because they are competing against each other. So one thing that they should have the mentality of, it is the mentality of collaborating, working as a team. Are you best in finance? Yes, then do your finance part. Are you best in marketing? Then do your best in the marketing team. Then when we come together at the end of a given period, we shall present our results, and that is what will show that we have been working as a team. So as a new employee, that's one of the ways you can use to contribute towards a conducive working environment. Then another thing that I would love to add is, especially for the senior, if you've been enrolled into an organization through a senior position, so you have juniors below you. Don't be that manager in that senior position who gets to bully those who are under you, because there is a difference between governing and dictating. When it comes to governing, you are laying out strategies that are going to encourage those who are under you to work in a very conducive environment. But if you start to dictate, the juniors below you will start to have that anxiety. They don't want to come to work. They don't want to contribute to anything because they know there is that fires manager. This manager does not want to listen to us. This manager does this and this. He never listens to our concerns. So when you get there as a senior person, be sure that you create a conducive environment for those who are under you to be able to approach you if there is any issue, to approach you if they want something done. Because if you are fires, they will not have that platform to approach you, to tell you something is going wrong. So make sure you are a good boss that knows how to control those who are under them. And then another thing also, you may also enter in a new organization like that person, you know, the high class person, you already have your assets maybe, and then into this organization we have people, employees who are still trying to make it. We have different classes in an organization, and I'm sure maybe you've also worked in such an organization. So maybe if you meet yourself as that person who already have assets, don't be that person who is looking down upon those who have not yet made it. Maybe you've already told them how your ring was imported from Dubai. You are already telling them the house that you are building. You already told them that you have the latest car. It doesn't work like that. Create an environment where they feel even if you are of a higher class, you can still interact with them. You can still help them. That is something that really counts when it comes to creating a conducive environment. And also to pick it up from where you were saying that other employees in the organization who may already be toxic. So you find that these employees who are toxic, they are in that organization not because they want well for the company, mostly because they got into that job through a connection. They were not qualified, so they feel this new employee who is coming, he or she is a threat because maybe he is qualified, he knows what he is doing, and so that's why they are creating a toxic environment, because they feel you are a threat. You may come outshine them because they do not know what they are doing. They never contribute, they never bring out ideas or projects to be worked on. So don't ever feel threatened if you meet toxic people in the workplaces. If there are such people in the toxic workplaces, it is always good to find a way of creating peaceful means of solving conflicts. Maybe approach the senior managers or the employer, tell them this and this is happening, and that is why we are not being able to work on a certain project because of certain employees.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So there's a bit of, yeah, as an employee, when it gets too much, then you can escalate.
Yeah,
to
true.
the seniors.
Yeah.
Good. Now, while we are at that, the next question will be around when you get into a different environment, and maybe, for example, that you're using for a toxic work environment, you may find that the colleagues who've been there for long, you see those colleagues who have the organization's knowledge, they've stayed there for long, or even if you land in the hands of a bad manager who will want to manipulate, take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Yes, and even as you settle, you really not had a clear or a deep understanding of the organization. Some colleagues may even take advantage within your team and give you their work, which is really not what you're supposed to do. So what should an employee do? What advice would you give for a new employee, especially, so that they do not fall a victim of being taken advantage of?
Okay, so thank you for this question. So you find that there are employees who are very vulnerable when it comes to a new work environment. They feel that they may not perform so well because of the new environment, and the thing that they can consider here is to stand firm in their principles. It is good to be self-aware of who you are and then come with the principles that you have to stand firm with them, because if you show people that you can be swayed very easily by decisions, they are going to take advantage of you. So from day one, make sure that your principles show them that I am not comfortable if you come to give me this piece of work, because as far as I am concerned as a career coach, we always have that guidelines that a company or an organization presents to a new employee, that you're supposed to do this and this, do this and this, do this and this. So if you come to give me your work, I do it for you. Unless the communication has come from the above, you know how we say from the above, unless the communication has come from the above that we are supposed to work as a team, or I'm supposed to chip in to help you accomplish this given task, I'm not supposed to take your work. maybe an employee has come and told me, I know this is your lunch hour, but help me accomplish this task. Stand firm, say that you know there is always a lunch hour for all employees to go and take their lunch, to go and take their break. So the key thing here is standing with your firm principles so that people will not take advantage of you. Make sure that any decision you make, it is being respected by other employees. That is how you'll get yourself going. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe how do you get to draw the line between collaborating, because we've talked about collaboration and teamwork, being a team player, and now saying no, because again at some point I feel if you say no when people, especially you see at that time that a new employee come to the organization, either maybe you've just been given your scorecard, you've just been taken through your KPIs, and there couldn't be so much that you're doing, so you find maybe the first 1 or 2 weeks you're still really not engaged. So a colleague of yours come and tell you, will you assist me with this? So how do you draw the line between I will appear like I'm not collaborating or I'm not a team player, and you know, if I take this work, it will come out like you're taking advantage.
So just a bit of what I had said, there is a difference, like you have said, between collaboration and a difference between being taken advantage of. Like I've said, there is always that list of things that you're supposed to do that you have been presented with, and especially you've been elaborated during the training or orientation period. So I can consider the first 2 weeks where you don't have so much to do, so maybe someone else can come and tell me, help me in this and this, but make sure it is not a trend, because there are people who take advantage of a new employee because they know this person is desperate, he needs a job, he needs a salary at the end of the month. So you have to be careful, and you also have to have the emotional intelligence, if I may call it, to know, is this person the type of people who take advantage of a person, or is it that he just wants me to be occupied so that I cannot have so much of an idle time during my first 2 weeks or 1 week. So make sure you learn to differentiate such kind of people, so that, because this person may get that trend of giving you work to do every day, and within a month you are still doing his work every day. So you see, that's something that also you have to avoid. I think here what you have to apply is emotional intelligence. Get to know, is this person giving me this work to do because of his own interest, or because of the interest of the whole organization, as much as my interest is also concerned.
Yeah, and emotional intelligence will also help you to be able to know how to say no respectfully, and how to decline without necessarily showing that you're rebelling or you're resisting. Okay, so now Lilian, when these new employees get to a new workplace, of course with new different people, and there are people in the organization who are already tired. You see, those people who've already they've gotten to a level where they don't care. Like you said, they're just there for the money, and just waiting at the end of the month to get paid. So they're not adding more value, either because they've had a bad experience or they've just become demotivated. And often what happens is that you'll get that they try to replicate, or rather they try to influence new employees to begin thinking negatively about the organization as them. So if you are not an employee who is very mentally stable, you might get into a new organization, get to be peer influenced, and begin really displaying very negative attributes at the beginning. And unfortunately, this might get you into maybe being terminated, your contract not being renewed, your probation not being confirmed, or maybe ultimately you're getting fired. So maybe would you just tell us, as a new employee, how does someone stand firm so they don't get to become victim peer influence at the workplace? Even if you get to a toxic environment, you know what, you're a professional, you've been hired. How do you get to stand firm and not get to fall a victim of influence by bad colleagues?
Okay, thank you, Nelly, for that question. So when it comes to a new employee being influenced negatively by her peers, it happens a lot, especially for the toxic employees who see a new person. Now they want to grab this new employee so that he or she can be on her side. I even had cases of people where a new employee went to this organization and she was told, the first thing that she was told by someone who had helped her to get the job, don't talk to this and this and this person. Talk to this group, associate yourself with this particular group. So that is one of the cases that a new employee can find herself into. And one thing that this new employee should know, just like in school we are being told you come alone and the same way you will leave school alone. So the same case applies when it comes to the workplace. You came in this new workplace alone. You are the only one who knows what drove you here. In this work, you know why you need the salary at the end of the month. So if you begin to mix yourself with people who have negative attributes, it is going to be the gradual downfall of you. So you have to stand tall, again, as I said, with your principles, with your values. Are you a responsible person? Are you a person who doesn't entertain gossip? Are you a person who never comes late for work, but now because you found other employees who don't even want to come early for work, they don't care what the boss will say, they don't care anything. Don't agree to be influenced by such type of people. Maybe these people have their spouses, have their partners who have good jobs, and you yourself, you know you are the breadwinner at your home. Maybe your parents depend on you, maybe your siblings depend on you. So you have to put so many factors into consideration before you are influenced negatively by other people. Make sure you stand firm with your values again, so that no one will see this as a person I can sway him from side to side. If I tell him we go here, we go. If I tell him we go this other side, we go. So stand firm. Let people know that you have that strong attribute of being a firm decision maker. Yeah.
Very important points there. Stand firm. Know that came alone and you.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we are not the same. There are people who that job is not their key source of income.
True. Yeah.
While for you, it could be that job that feeds your family.
Yeah.
And that is you're the breadwinner, and that job means the world to you.
Yeah.
So you really need to know, because I find why I'm emphasizing on that point. I find it very common, very very common, where employees get to a new workplace and they tend to begin to behave like other people.
Yeah.
So you came alone, and when it comes to that time that maybe you'll be going home or you'll be terminated or whatever way, you'll be going alone.
True.
So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And we're almost coming to the end of this conversation. Another question I would like to ask is on the virtue of patience. And I find not just new employees, but most people, it lacks in most people.
Yeah.
And when an employee gets to a new workplace, you've gotten to this work environment and you just realize, oh no, this was not for me. I made a mistake, but I mean, you've already gotten yourself in this environment. Most of the time, when it becomes unbearable, people quit, even maybe before getting another job.
True.
So I know there's a line of maintaining your, there's the need of maintaining your sanity, and truly speaking, there's nothing that can pay, or rather there's nothing that can be equated or that can be as valuable as living a life that is out of stress.
True.
You really can't exchange your well-being with money. But will you tell us, when it comes to patience, how patient should someone be, especially if they get into a new environment and they find this is not what I expected? You see, you get that vitu kwa ground ni different.
Yeah.
How patient? What is the level of patience that someone should be able to maintain?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. So I'll start by giving my story, a bit of it. There's this organization that I enrolled into, and when I was picked...
You worked for?
Yeah, sorry, I worked for. And so when I was picked to be a receptionist there, I didn't know that I would also act as the cleaner of the offices. So you see, it's not something that I had anticipated for. But because the position had already come and I had to take up the position and the roles. So this is something maybe I would have used means that are not appropriate to get another position. Maybe I feel that I deserve more. But I stick to it because I knew what I wanted at the end of the day, as much as also I was looking for other greener pastures. So when it comes to a new employee, maybe you've been given this position and you feel that it comes with a lot of responsibilities that you're not proud of, or maybe you want a senior position. You've seen that this senior position This particular person is being given a vehicle, it is being fueled. This person has his own secretary. Who doesn't want such a life? So maybe you feel that I am the one who is supposed to be in this senior position, and because you're not patient enough, you want to use backdoor means to get this position, of which it is not appropriate. Because one thing I know and I believe, for you to be at the top, for you to get a managerial role, you have to be a person who knows what happens at these junior roles. It is good for you to have gained experience of what a junior person goes through. You need to know what happens kwa ground, ni nini huwa inafanyika. It is very essential for a senior position to have gone through it, to have gained experience, to have gained lessons, so that even you as a manager, if a junior comes to tells you of a certain challenge, you are familiar with it. You know how to go about it. If another junior position akuje na ujanja yake, wewe unajua hiyo ni ujanja because you have been there. So as a senior person, you have as a junior position person having a junior position, you have to be patient. You have to gain experience and learn as much as you can what happens, so that when you go to the top, you will be very familiar with what it takes for a junior position to accomplish this and what happens around. So it is very, very important to take advantage of that position that you have been given. And also, when you go to the senior position without experience, when you go to the senior position without experience, you will not be able to handle well the responsibilities that come with managing a team. So you'll get to find that this manager, the performance of the company begins to drop during his term. Why? Because he doesn't know what happens. He doesn't know what it takes to build a company or to build a performance, because he never contributed to it. So if this manager has experience, it will be better, it will be good for him, or it will be easier for him to improve the performance of a company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now what in the case of maybe in the case of not just someone who is junior, like just a seasoned professional, you've gotten into a new workplace and you realize this is not what you expected. Maybe you realize the values they say they have is not what they practice in the company. The values do not align to what you believe in. The culture is not what you expected. And you find, as I said, is that when people realize these things do not align, then someone quit very fast. So what is the level of patience that a new person in a new work environment, irrespective of the level, can maintain?
Thank you for the question, and that is a very interesting question, because I also believe that every position that you are given, it comes with a purpose. Just that because you have landed in a new environment, you are not guaranteed that it is going to be a walk in the park. You are going to land in sometimes you are going to land in a position where you will meet chaos, the performance is so bad, there is no teamwork, and it is upon you now as that professional to chip in, or rather to implement what you have, the knowledge, the experience, the wisdom that you carry. It is now time for you, and maybe now you will be termed as the man of the hour if you come to save this particular company. So I'll even maybe term it as an advantage if I get into an organization that doesn't have any direction, doesn't know what it's doing. I'll really take it as an advantage to showcase my skills, to showcase my experience, to show them that I am the person who can drive this performance, this organization to the right direction. I am the person who can improve the performance, so that people will get to say, well, the moment Lilian entered into this organization, things have been good, clients have increased, the sales have moved up, it's not like the previous term. So I'll encourage this person, if you've just gotten into an environment that you see things are not doing good, take it upon yourself. What can you do to improve that situation? What can you do to improve the performance? Don't try now to run away from it. Maybe that's even the reason why God put you there, because he knows you can handle it. So don't run away from it, because you may even run and meet another situation that is more messy. Just take the one that has been presented to you, and that is where you will be uplifted.
Wow, so the grass next door might not be as greener as it looks
True,
like
true,
from the
true.
outside.
Yeah.
And one key thing is that you need to, I think I find that quite interesting, that if you get into a place that is chaotic,
Yeah.
the culture is not what you expected, and even when you get to your job, you realize that there's no support and all that. So
Yeah.
it's time for you to showcase your professionalism and to stand out, just to pick it up and let everyone, show everyone that you're the best person who
True.
can really bring change in that organization. Yeah, I think that is important, because people quit so early, people quit so fast. We get into an environment, that's why you find people leaving jobs in 6 months, in 3 months. We get into an environment where we have a lot of excuses, like this place is too toxic. Then you as a person, what exactly is it that you're doing to make it better?
Yeah, but to add on it, you may find that as much as you are implementing those skills so that you can drive the company towards the right direction, you may find that it is taking more time than expected. The people in there do not want to collaborate. They don't want to that teamwork. It may be good for you if you just take maybe that decision to leave, because I don't believe there is a way that you can compromise your sanity for something other people don't want it to work. So if you've tried your level best, if you've tried to bring stakeholders who can improve the situation, but people are not collaborating, then it's good for you to make sure that your peace of mind comes first.
Okay,
Yeah.
so picking from what you said, it's that it's good to leave at the point that
you've already
done,
tried,
but
yeah.
not to leave prematurely.
Yeah.
All right, good, thank you. So another question would be, as a new employee, how you interact with people during your initial days in the organization is very important in setting the tone for the type of relationships you're going to build and how people are going to accept you. So there's a key role that creating a good rapport with your new colleagues really play in just to determine how you're going to stay in the organization and even how long you can stay in that organization. So as a new employee, how do you ensure, and I think you mentioned a bit of it when we are starting, where you said it's important that you create relationships, you begin to know people, talk to people earlier, rather than waiting to begin interacting and engaging people in your second or even third week. So how do you create this good relationship at the start? You've just got into a new workplace with new people. How do you create a good relationship that will ensure a good stay for you in the organization at this start?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So one thing that an employee should consider, going back to what you've mentioned, I said at the beginning, that you begin to interact with employees, with other employees, but one thing these new employees should note is that there is a limit. Don't go to the extent of revealing your personal information to people. You want to tell them about your marriage, you want to tell them about your children, your childhood traumas. You have to be very careful to the information that you're giving your fellow employees, because remember, you are new to this organization. So you do not know the personality of this other person that you are giving out your information to. Maybe this is the type of person, once you tell him or tell her your personal information, the next day everybody is looking at you with judgy eyes, because they are like, wow, so this lady has been through this and this, and it's because you told one person, this other person went ahead to tell all other employees. And also remember, as employees, I know this happens a lot, they always have their own WhatsApp group, different from the one that the employer is in. They create their own where they just chat entertainment, how work was, what and what. So maybe you've not already been enrolled into that informal WhatsApp group, and maybe your links or information will be paraded there by this person who you have not taken note of his personality. Maybe it's a mouthy person, he just talks, he doesn't care. He has just gone and given some bit of your information, insensitive information in the WhatsApp group, you know. So it is very crucial for you to just interact with people using the relevant information. Maybe how you can contribute to certain projects, how you can work on certain ideas. Make sure that the information that you're giving out is something that is helpful and it's something that is impactful to other employees. And then something else, as I said earlier, don't fall to the peer pressure group, whereby you've met people, maybe these are people who have been long in the employment sector, so maybe they take lunch daily, that is lunch that they have ordered from outside, 150 shillings every day, or maybe they're with new dresses every day, new outfits every day, and so you want to to fall into the pressure part of it, and you are just new into this employment. Maybe you have been at home for 2 years, for 1 year, and you don't have that capital, so you're trying now to take loans. You are falling into debt so that you can be able also to fit in their game. It is good, you know, that you have to feel pride in what you already have, as long as it is decent. Is it a dress that you have? Wash it, iron it well. Is it a shoe? Panguza vizuri, wear it. Feel pride in it. Is it that you carry lunch from home? Feel pride in what you have. And then something else, be your own source of happiness, because there are people, and I was also a victim of it years back, where I used to depend on people for happiness. Where people are happy, that's where I want to go. If people are not happy, I'm not also happy. So that is something that affected me for long. And as a new employee, you may fall for this, whereby you are only unategea watu wenye wamefurahi so that you can also be happy. Be your own source of happiness, and like I have said, it's by having pride in what you already have. As long as it's decent, then you are good to go. The rest of the things will come as time goes by.
Wow, thank you so much, Lilian. Just adding on what you've already said, one very important thing is that you always need to understand that a workplace is a formal environment, and getting into a new place as a new employee and beginning to share your personal stories with everyone is the least you want to do.
True.
Because the moment you say something, that is what people will use to judge you. So you go around sharing your personal life, maybe your failed marriage, your failed jobs, your children, like you're saying, the big cars that you drive.
True.
That's how people will be looking at you, and within no time, nobody will want to associate with you, or rather even interact with you, because they'll say, if I share my story with this one, so I know it will be all over.
True.
Because you've proven that you talk a lot. So it's quite important to understand that less is more, and if you get into a job, a work environment, it's important to know what brought you there. And as Lilian already said earlier, that when it comes to coming, you came alone, and of course when it comes to going, we'll also go alone.
True.
So it's important that you know what to share and
True.
what not to talk about.
True.
Yeah, and my last question will be an interesting one. I think just as we summarize this conversation is there's some employees, especially drawing it back to what we just talked about, that get to a new place and they want to be all over. You see, have you seen those people that they get to a new place and they see mistakes everywhere? They come and look at the structure. No, this structure is not working. This structure is bad. This structure is this and this. They come and look at the people. You see those people who find errors. They find a mistake in everything. You've ever seen an employee maybe is hired in customer experience department, but they want to interfere, and I think I call it interference, because they want to question what everyone else is doing in the organization. And I'm sorry to say that happens with, of course, people who believe that they know too much, which is okay. It's good to believe that you know too much. So what one advice would you tell such employees that get to an organization and they want to be everywhere, they want to interfere with everyone's work? So
thank you for the question. It's quite interesting, and something that I would love to say about these employees first. These are people who are facing insecurities inside them. They already have insecurities. So in anything that they see, they want to project their insecurities towards it. If it's a person, they want to project their insecurity towards that person, because also they feel they themselves, they are not enough. So because they feel that they themselves, they are insufficient, they also want you to feel the same. They want you to feel that your organization is not the same. They want you to feel that this particular desktop is not enough for me, because they themselves, they are not sufficient enough. So one thing that I would love to encourage such employees is to first be self-aware of themselves, because this is something that they are already lacking. Be self-aware of yourself. Get to know that not everything is perfect, and that is why you've already been presented with that position. If you are seeing a mistake in something, if you are seeing a mistake in someone, then it is your responsibility to bring the best out of it, to correct it. So first thing first, be self-aware of yourself, so that now you can also be able to accommodate other people. And that is why you are there, to bring things in order, to help people who are lagging behind to be able to improve in their performance. So don't intimidate other people. Don't see them as a threat, because also I think such people see other people as a threat, maybe because, as I said, they've landed that position through a backdoor, through a connection, so they don't even have an idea what this job is about. It's just like me, if you tell me to enter into an IT company, I have no idea what IT entails. I don't have passion about it. So if I enter in an IT company, I'll see people as a threat to me, because they have knowledge about it. They have skills about it. Ukiniambia nifanye coding, I don't have any idea about it. So this particular person who has entered into this organization, projecting his insecurities to peoples and to objects, should first be self-aware of himself. And I always encourage people, before you venture into a career, make sure you are venturing into the right career. So that when you get into that career, you are passionate about it. You want to learn. You want to know, how is this something done? Because if someone enrolls into a career that is not passionate about, once he enters into this organization, he doesn't want to know anything. He doesn't want to ask questions, because it's not in him. He doesn't have the strength to perform certain duties and responsibilities. So one thing I always advise someone, to avoid such a situation that you have mentioned, ensure that you venture into the right career, so that when you are given a responsibility, you have the passion to do it. Even if the money is not enough, you have the passion, because you know one day the money is going to come back, the fame is going to come back, the success is going to come back, because you took your time to learn what is expected of you.
Wow, thank you so much. And I think one thing that you've said that really stands out for me is people who behave like that. You get into a new work environment and you want to influence everyone's work. People who are themselves, they're struggling with
their own insecurities.
So you want to display it on everyone else. And just what I'll add on that also, Lilian, is that it's very important that when you're getting into a new environment, you understand the boundaries. And you might be so experienced where even if you get to an organization at a very high role, it's very important that you take time to learn, because each and every organization have their own structures, have different visions and missions, and the structure that worked in your previous employment or in your previous place of work must not necessarily work here. So it's important that when you get into a new environment, take time, understand what is it that this employer values, what is it that works here, how does the culture work look like, and how does this culture support what they're looking for, or what they're looking to achieve as an organization. So wow, it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. I've learned from you. Once again, just thank you for accepting to come and have this conversation with us. So guys, this has been amazing, an amazing conversation, and I'm very happy because this is our first, you're actually our first female guest.
Wow, thank you.
In the channel. Thank you. So I hope you've learned, and as always, my mission is to help you build rewarding and fulfilling careers through the topics that we discuss in this channel, through the various professionals that I get to interview in this channel. So this brings us to the end of this conversation, and guys, if you've not subscribed to this channel, this is a good opportunity for you just to subscribe and to get to stay in touch with the content that I share from time to time. So thank you so much for watching this video till the end. We have come to the end of this conversation, and I'll see you in the next video.